go. We learn as you go. And learning is so excited. But before I go far, welcome back to my channel. This is Tisha Oliphant, born and bred in South Africa. And I know the joys of having a YouTube channel is that you are not only speaking to South Africans, but you get to interact with most people or with people across the world, which is so exciting. So if you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Tisha Oliphant, and if you've always been the member of this family, thank you so much. Your support is highly appreciated and it goes a long way. And thank you, guys. And I must start off by saying congratulations to us. I know I did pin a post. We finally gotten monetized. Yes, and we thank God for the big and the small milestones because they honestly help us to continue with our journeys. They motivate us to bring our A game, to give more, to continue motivating, to continue sharing, to continue doing what we are meant to do. And my ask is that once you've listened to my information, or you've watched the videos, or you've watched my live videos and looked at my post, and you feel, see, I resonate with what you believe in, you can learn a thing or two, please do subscribe and don't forget to hit a notification bell so that every time I'm live, every time I upload a video, you do not miss out. And since we've got adverts showing during a video, during a live, guys, I urge you to please do not skip them, because that's how not just me, a YouTuber, but most YouTubers make the monies. You know, they get monetized by you just controlling your finger. I know we get an edge to hit the skip, but because my daughter is on social media, I've gotten to the habit of just allowing anybody that I'm watching, not just my child. I follow a number of people that adds value to my life, people that I grow from, people that I learn from. So when the ad is playing, I don't skip it, because I know there is their dollar, I know there is their money that will help them upgrade their content by buying maybe a new camera, a GoPro, a stand. There's a lot that is required to create content, and you can only upgrade when you are in fact making money, because taking out of your pocket all the time won't get you far. We've got other responsibilities to take care of. So I urge you, every single person, please do not skip the ads, because yes, the advertisers will then pay accordingly if you don't skip. And I looked at my stats, and right now I know they don't call them algorithm, if it's that, analytics, that's the right word. And I realized that I've got a big percentage of people skipping the ads. So guys, I can see you, I'm watching you, all eyes on you. I can see I've got people who are really letting me down. But those who don't skip the ads, thank you so much. Those who share the channel, I truly appreciate commenting, interacting. That's how the channel grows, and liking. So I want us today to talk about what successful people tend to do during this time of the year, and compliments of the new season. It's a new year here. 2024 has started with a bang. I hope you are ready, yes, for all the opportunities that will come your way, and you've equipped yourself with any challenges that could hinder your you know you from moving to the next step. So you've got tools ready. You're not gonna now, throw your hands on the air and say, "What is this? I wasn't expecting this." Always remember, we are not in control. Of course, we are in control of building our wealth and pushing and taking care of our health, making sure mentally we are stable. But there'll always be forces that will come unexpectedly so and disturb us. So always be that soldier. There is the war and ready with its ikhali zalo, isotsha lelo. So be like that. So welcome Buyi, I see you. Monsile, I see you. Nolindi, I see you. Good morning and happy new year, my baby. So I would like to, and this is what I'm imparting. This is what I've been doing for years. As you know, I'm not a newbie in terms of life. I might be a newbie on YouTube, but I've been around and I've always applied these principles. I've always uh, made time to start my new year by laying a foundation. And I've never gone wrong. So I thought I'll sit down and share Uguti what I tend to do, and it really works for me. And I hope you'll take a thing or two. And if there's something else that you normally do beginning of the year, please pin it on the comment section. Let us share, let us learn from one another. I love my platforms to be like that. They are educational, they're about information sharing. So, this is who we are, and nothing has changed. So, I just want to say, and guys, I've listed some of the points here so that I don't leave anything out. And yeah, I end up saying, "Oh, I forgot about this point. I forgot about this point." But beginning of every year, once some people will only be doing their vision boards now, others, their vision boards are done and they're ready for them to check them out. So congratulations if your vision board is already completed. If you're still working on it, push and get it on its complete state. If you haven't started, this is the right time to actually sit down and plan your goals, how you're gonna get there, and make sure you are realistic. It's very important. I know some people are dishonest to other people and they end up being dishonest to themselves. Don't be dishonest. Please be honest and be realistic. Don't set targets that are unrealistic because you're gonna be demotivated, and come next year you're gonna say it didn't work last year, so I'm gonna go with the flow. Life doesn't happen for people who go with the flows. I promise you, everything you ought to plan. So, what you should be doing beginning of every year, but we'll talk 2024, you should be looking into your assessments. Assess your personal situation. You've done your vision boards, and I'm sure when you did your vision board, you did touch on certain assessments. What do I mean by assessments? You're going to look at different forms of assessments, personal assessments. Let me give you an example. You're going to start off with the categories, the aspects of your life, what completes you. I've spoken about this, that it's pointless to only focus on your spiritual side of life. It's pointless to only focus on your health. There's different aspects that makes you the person that you are, that makes Lindy. And when one is not operating the way it's supposed to be, Lindy will not operate at her optimum level. So this is the time where you sit down and assess your personal life. So spiritually, you're gonna sit and say, spiritually, where am I at? Last year, what did I do to boost, and make sure that I'm vibrating at a frequency that brings me peace, that brings me closer to God or to the powers that you believe in. So you're gonna sit and say, I'm a firm believer. If you're a Christian, I'm a Christian, and Christians, the values are A, B, C, D. Going to church is part of it. To pray for yourself, to pray for others, to ask your brothers and sisters to pray for you, to visit your Father who is God in his house, not far from him. When you miss your dad, you get into your car, you go to KZN, you go to Cape Town, wherever your dad is, you go to the lounge and you sit with your dad. You don't say, I can still praise him from my house, because people use that example. And if it works for you, hallelujah. For some of us, it just makes sense to be closer to him. And I know some people say don't have to be physically closer, and we all have different beliefs and we respect that. However, start spiritually and say, what can I include? What can I bring forward this year? What's the improvements that I can introduce into my life spiritually that can actually boost me, that can take me to the next level? You felt empty, you felt hungry spiritually, you felt far from God. Maybe you think you didn't achieve what you needed to achieve because you were very far from your ancestors, if that's what you believe in. This is the time to sit down and say, what do I need to do to be closer to the people that I believe in, to the powers that I believe in, so that I can excel, so that 2024 will be completely different from 2023. So you can start with your spiritual aspect of life. Your health, you need to sit down and say, I've enjoyed those pizzas, I've enjoyed a glass of whiskey every night. Did it do me good? Let me go and assess my health and see where I'm at. Then you will book your assessments with clicks, you'll book your assessments with I'm trying to think of the other ones. Oh my word. How can I forget them? But the big one, guys, and Discount. And you will go and do a health assessment. So you start with your spiritual assessment. There's no formula. There's no priority. I'm just mentioning them. I'm not saying you ought to. You have to. No. Once you're done with your spiritual assessment and you've set and you've honest with yourself and you've switched off, no noise when you do your assessments, and you are saying, you know what, all honesty, I lacked here. Let me pull up my socks. Let me bring towards myself tools that can help me improve, information that can help me improve. With your health assessment, you do the same. You go, because you need to know where you are at. So you start by saying, where am I at right now? To be able to know where you're heading to. You can't know where you going. Of course, you know where you're going, but if you don't have the starting point that is clear, because even with the GPS, it asks you current location before you load the where you're heading to. So what is your current location health wise? What is your current location spiritual wise? And once you go for those health assessment where they'll check your glucose, I think they check your blood pressure, all the nitty gritties to check where you are at. You are then able to speak to the nurse, to the sister, to your doctor with those results. They check your HIV status, which is very, very crucial. And you are able to pick up these chronic illnesses sooner than when they reach the later stages, and you are told, sorry, ma'am, there's nothing much we can do for you now because you are at the end of the stage. So it is important and imperative. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of looking into your assessments. And guys, yes, maybe you've compromised your health and you found yourself being, very close with someone without protection, but running away from finding the truth, whether you are now infected, will not heal you, will not, it doesn't do you any good. So rather deal with the truth, rather deal with the facts, so that you are able to get the right medication as soon as possible. And guys, assessments are very important as we age. When you are much younger, you can eat as many burgers and fries as you can. That's what they think. But it catches up with you later in life. You can have those ice creams without thinking twice and chocolates. But you ought to, and I will urge even the younger generation to take care and do these assessments, because they definitely have no age or any restrictions. The sooner you start assessing your life, the better. You stand on an advantage of applying what needs to be applied and bringing all the tools that will help you propel and do excel in 2024. So do your health assessment. Very important. And if you suffer from a chronic illness, beginning of the year is the right time to make the appointments, book the appointments with your specialists, with your doctors, with your professors, to go and see, how what is the medication doing what it needs to do, how advanced, and we're hoping it's not advancing but getting better, that chronic illness is at, the stage. Are you getting better? Are you getting healed? And this is the time to have discussions. Uh, You've been recommending this medication, doctor, to me, but it seems as though it's not doing much. What else can you introduce that from your studies you think could help me? Very important. And the food side of things, you start assessing, what's causing you allergies, what's causing you sinuses in my case, and I know it's dairy, and you cut down. It's time to assess, why am I feeling tired? Why am I no longer able to be more creative or to walk 5 miles or 5 kilometers without breathing as though I'm leaving this earth? And you start implementing, walking around the block. I don't want to say join the gym. I want to say, but I know people sign up for gym membership and they go just in Jan and Feb. Come March, the gyms are empty. But do what you know will work for you. If going around your house 20 times will save you financially, will save you time wise because you are a busy woman or a busy man, stick to that rather. Waking up in the morning and jogging around your suburb or your township or your rural area, village, is the best option. Do that, but sit down and do your health assessment, do your spiritual assessment. And remember, these assessments that we're talking about, you might need professionals, you might need people who studied for them, just like the health assessment. You can't do them personally. I've got my scale right here, which is telling me bad cues, but the only thing most probably I can do is to weigh myself and maybe check my BMI. But the crucial side of whether I'm diabetic and all that, you need someone who's skilled, someone who went to school. And when I say school, I mean college, varsity, to know which buttons to touch, which machineries to use on you. So some of these assessments, you ought to appoint the right person to help you with. And thanks for liking, guys, and thanks for really embracing me with your presence. And I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're using your phone to jot down what will move you forward in 2024. Things that you overlooked last year for whatever reason that I might share, and you think, oh wow, mommy has a point here, and maybe this can benefit me. Tisha has a point. I'm so used to my children who Facebook, and I know I've got new people from somewhere else, and they're wondering, mommy, what's up with this woman? Are we now? And guys, because of cultures, remember other countries, sorry, I'll derail just for a second. They don't believe in this mommy thing to a stranger. See. It's an African thing, and people from other countries who possess the African spirit in them will really understand. But other people will say, "Huh? When did she become my mom? Come on, you're not my mom." Ooh, it's a different world, I'm telling you. So look into your just continuing and look into your health assessments, guys. I cannot emphasize this enough. Your health is your wealth. Your health is your new wealth. You can have all the monies, all the papers from undergrad to honors to masters to postgrad. You can be called a doctor, a professor. Guys, you can be called a pastor, a leader of your community, of your house, of this world. You can be a president. If you are not healthy, guys, all that really doesn't mean much to you at that time when you are really, really feeling unwell. So do take care of your health, and you wouldn't know what's going on in you. Although we do get signs and sometimes we ignore them, our bodies talk to us all the time. You know when something is not right. I know right now my body is not where it's supposed to be because I've been eating so much sugar and I'm on my way to detox, which I should have been there, done and dusted. But because we're human beings, we cheat a bit, but don't cheat your own wealth. You know, your health is your wealth. So go find out, are you still a spring chicken that you were last year, that you were 5 years ago? Don't leave it at that. And once you've taken care of your spiritual, or you've done your spiritual assessment, you've done your health assessment, you've gotten the results, you are told what's the way forward, and do ask for way forward because you can't figure it out yourself with all the assessments except the ones that you're gonna do personally. You ought to know, Gucci, where do I move forward, where to from here, what can better this current situation that I'm at. No, you're sitting with the results and you don't know how to actually move forward. Guys, I'm so close to you. I hope it's not too hectic. I didn't mean to come live and be this close. And then uh, those who suffer from stresses and depressions, and because they've been through a lot, do not ignore doing an assessment on that as well. You know which doctor is assisting you, and if there's no doctor, you're self-medicating, maybe it's time to say, did it well? Did it work? And excuse me, listening to the music, the soothing sounds, and yeah, the sounds that you hear when you go to for a spa, and the yogas, did they actually work when you self-helped? If that didn't work, you ought to now take a next step and say, 2024, let me maybe go see a doctor, and the doctor might just give me the right stuff. If you suffer from anxiety, panic attacks, we all have, not we all have, but people have different mental issues that they currently are battling with, and do not ignore and do not overlook. If you've tried to do it on your side and you realize that, okay, no, it's not getting you where you need to be, and you know when you're not operating at a level that you ought to. And I want to share, someone brought to my attention and said she even lost their job last year because of stress and depression, because they went through a lot, things like losing a loved one. If you don't accept the loss, or move on, it can send you to stress and depression. The relationships, partners, husbands, wives, kind of relate, the stresses that you might be, chaos within your family, with your siblings, your aunts, people who didn't expect to let you down, can send you the loss of a job or of a child. Guys, there's so much. We live in a world that has so much going on. And because we don't take time to just switch off and breathe and close and shut down everything, including our phones, and just recharge, you can easily slip into stress. And before you know, you slip into depression. So do take care of your mental state and go and do assessment, and maybe just by booking a therapist, a psychologist, and having that one conversation, you might pick up, or he or she might pick up with, no, something is just not right. And guys, some people failed to attain their goals in 2023 because these aspects of life were not taken care of. If you get what I mean. There's someone who could have started their business, but they kept on and even now they don't understand. But why? Because I had so much energy, I was positive about it. But you'll find, Gucci, mentally and emotionally, you were not okay, and you didn't make time to go and get help. You just carried on and carried on, and therefore you didn't achieve that which you had listed or on your vision board to achieve in 2023. So start this year totally different and caring for yourself and making sure you care for all these pockets that makes you whole, that makes you who you are. You can't skip the spiritual and think the health side will run on its own. No, this body cannot function if one ear is missing. Your body cannot function if your finger is not doing well. You're gonna sit and say, oh my goodness, this finger is aching, and you're gonna run to the doctor. Why do you then think when the other aspect of your life is not where it's supposed to be, you'll be able to function at your, you'll give your 100 or 200%? It really, you're fooling yourself. You will carry on most probably, but I'm not sure for how long and how far you can get in life. So do take care. And the most important aspect of your life, once you've looked into your spiritual, once you've looked into your health, once you've looked into your emotional and mental well-being, please do take care. And don't forget to include the relationships. I don't leave them out and say where I'm at in terms of the relationships. And relationships, I'm not only talking your person, I'm also talking your loved ones, the family, the extended families, your neighbors, the community, the church that you serve. Are you there? You know, do you show up? Do you raise your hand when you are needed? Do that assessment and see what you can do differently. If you never attend family gatherings, maybe have it this year that when you do your assessment, you will go to at least one. We always start with baby steps, guys. A baby is, just rolls before it can sit, before it can crawl, and all those steps. So don't now sit and say, I'll be going to all the family meetings, because you won't even attend one. Be realistic once again and be honest with yourself. You are now trying to mend and remedy what went wrong years ago, or it's been a while, or just a few months, you lost track. Therefore, apply baby steps so that you can see which, oh wow, I've achieved it, and it helps you to regain the strength and the energy and the positivity to continue. So do take care of those relationships, and not just siblings or friends. Some people are just crazy with friends and they neglect their own kids. All those aspects, sit down and say, where am I at? What can I, how, do your assessments and see what you can do, and maybe ask your kids how you can show up, what will make them feel special. When, ask them, they'll tell you, ma, if you can at least attend my sports match, I will feel good. You are a present parent. Sometimes we want to do things in isolation or by ourselves, and those things include other people, and it's pointless. If it's going to include your friends, ask the friends. You don't assume, don't think what you think suits them. We all have different love languages. Ask your kids what will really warm their hearts, what will make them proud of you. And we all know, as parents, you can be the best parent at times and still be criticized, because, yeah, that is the reality of life. But when you've done your all, it leaves you feeling fulfilled. And that's what we're gunning for. That end of 2024, you should say, what a year. I did everything and I'm proud of myself. Then, once you've done that, look into this assessment. There is also so crucial your financial assessment. And I'm gonna take some time on this one because it is a big part, and yeah, it also, as much as you might not need money for your spiritual assessment, for your spiritual life, but you actually do. There's tithing that needs to be taken care of. You ought to help at church, you drive to church, so you need petrol money. So hence the financial assessment will be very, very detailed and much longer than the ones that I just did high level. And the other ones are also very personal, just like your financial assessment. And you also gonna do it your way, what suits you, what works for you. You're gonna look at your life, your personal life, not your friend's life, your neighbor's life, and you aspire to be there. Your life, of course, they motivate. You look at them, they've achieved, and they like your role model. But be honest with where you are at right now and where you'd like to be. And with financial assessment, guys, if possible, and you are unable to DIY, which I don't always recommend, but there's people who can DIY so well because they did modules that includes financials and budgeting, accounting, auditing, and all that. If you don't have the skills, get a certified financial advisor with a license to help you. Don't DIY, because they will take into consideration everything financial. So all your finances, they won't only look at you, how much you earn, how much you spend. They will look into your retirement aspect of life. They will look into things such as, do you have kids? How old are your kids? If your kids are still younger, there's still education that will take place. Therefore, you ought to make preparations for your kids' education. Unlike someone whose kids are big, they already working, so it is important they look into your life. Do you own a property? How much are you owning in the property? What other debts do you have? So if God calls your name tonight, how much will be left? Do you have assets? Are your liabilities more than your assets? So appointing someone who got education and experience will really, really help, more especially if you are just starting out or you have no idea where to touch and all that. Even if you think you have an idea, maybe just getting someone just for this year who can look at your financial status holistically, who can do this financial assessment holistically, and Uchi, okay, now I know where I stand in terms of me having maybe an investment, of me having a funeral cover just for my funeral, and not thinking a funeral cover will make my family rich, which is what Africans struggle with. They'll have 10 funeral covers which don't serve a purpose, and some of them, they end up being declined or rejected when the claim goes in, because there's limits to how much can be covered. Your life cover is a wealth building tool, not a funeral cover. So how will you know if you never got education on this, and you don't even watch these guys or attend seminars or listen to their podcast? Rather appoint someone, pay this year, and get your house in order. So do get someone beginning of the year who will look into a financial aspect. If you've done it before and you already know what you need, you can personally do it. And please, guys, when you talk about the financial assessment, you can't do your financial assessment without gathering all your information. So have your stuff in front of you. If it's sitting on the Excel spreadsheet, have your Excel spreadsheet open. If it's documented and you've got a file, get that file so that you look at the current situation and see how well you can get to where you're heading to. And I want to say with us, make sure your pay slip is next to you. Make sure your bank statement is near you. Make sure your expenses are looking at you and you know exactly how much your income is, even if it includes if you're getting royalties, if it includes other businesses, do that, have it next to you. And then if it includes profits, be honest and how much you're actually spending. And once you've done that assessment and you can see, good, Aibo, I'm sitting go minus instead of a positive, then you ought to ask yourself, how can you now maybe bring more income your way, by starting a side hustle or getting a second job or using the skill that you have and monetizing it so that the minus that you get at the end, income minus expenditure, expenses, turns into a positive, because that's what you are gunning for. You can't be working your whole life, but your take home is minus. You're working for everyone else but yourself. You're working for a BMW company. You're working for a Maserati. You're working for some bank that bonded your home. You're working for clothing stores. You're working for these cell phone stores because they're making a fortune from us, from the Wi-Fi's and all these internet connection. But when who wakes up every morning, who sits in traffic, who stresses when you get to work, who deals with if you're in a toxic environment, with all that, you get a minus out of it, then that equation is definitely not looking well at all. So that's what you are doing when you're looking into your financial assessment. And you ought to look, as I said, your funeral cover, is it still enough? You last took it in 2006 when it paid you, or pays not you, you'll be gone, pays your family out maybe 5,000. What will 5,000 buy in 2024? What will 5,000 buy in 2030? So that is the assessment that you'll be doing. Good. Haibo, I'm only paying maybe 30 rands towards my funeral cover, and my family will only be able to get 6,000. It doesn't even buy groceries for that funeral. And you make sure you increase the amount. This is the time to look into such. Your life cover, you had one child when you took your life cover. Now you've got three children. How is 400,000 gonna, and there's only baba kids, nunu kids. So how is this life cover of 400,000 gonna ensure, if you were to leave, that they carry on with the school, they even go to colleges, varsities, TVTs, post matric, you look into such. So just to give you a few examples of what your financial assessment should compromise of, and uh, yeah, sit down and look into that. And you obviously, in terms of your bank statements, you also check what, how much you pay. If you're really paying a fortune in terms of bank fees, call the bank, speak to them, tell them, Gucci guys, no, 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 no. How is this account benefiting me, apart from transferring money from A to Z? So I'm sorry, I can't pay 500 rands. unless you are an invested private banker and you don't lift a finger when it comes to finances. Even then, make sure Guti, that 1,000 rands per month that you are paying, it is actually serving you. You're getting what in Investec, and I'm using them as an example, as a private banker. You're getting what they promise you that you should be getting. And guys, if you're getting free slow lounges and international flights or local flights, and you do this financial assessment and you realize that you last flew out 5 years ago, why are you paying such high bank fees for the perks that you're not even using? So you ought to be honest when you work on this. Let me see, my kids are saying something here before we continue. Guys, before we continue, please do subscribe. Please don't skip the ads. Please do like. Please do share. Someone might benefit from this. Someone might bring a spin into our conversation and we might learn a thing or two. Sometimes we fear the unknown. That's what's holding us back. True, Lindy, and you do not fear. I've said it so many times that it's written 365 times in your Bible that do not fear. So it basically means every day do not fear. Guys, we can't, you know what, as much as we can sit here and say we fear death, for those who fear death, you still gonna die anyway. So even if you fear, you still need to make money anyway. So just and being fearful is valid. All the feelings that we have, we created. We never created any feeling. So no one came to this earth and said, okay, let me just create a jealousy, let me invent a joy. No, we found them here and they are part of who we are. However, be conscious and be aware when you become when you fear, and acknowledge the fear because it is a valid feeling, but then don't let it overrule you, don't let it overtake you, don't let it take over your life. Find ways to overcome it, and don't let it cripple you, and make you freeze and not move, if struggle to move forward. If there's something wrong, your body does react to it. Always, Lindy. And we just get so busy and so caught up in the things of this world that we just end up ignoring. But the minute you feel good, hi man, this is not me, stand up and get something and do something about it. Go see a professional. A hurting partner is managers get better, increases, where else we sweat more. And one chikelo, I wanna say to you, you know what? When they say life is not fair, there is exactly that. And there's absolutely nothing you can do, Sissy, except one, you work your way up and you become a manager. So you study and you equip yourself with knowledge, and you job shadow that manager so that when the post becomes available, whether in that department, another department, in a different company, you can also go and become a manager. But can I tell you something? Even then, you'll get there and realize that heads of departments get more than you, and you feel you sweat more. Execs, shareholders. So it is just the reality of life. There'll always be someone who's doing better than you, and sometimes through your hard work. It's the unfairness of life. And if you get to a point where there's people who get to a point where they say, stuff this, I'm gonna be my own boss. And then that's where they start their own businesses. So you choose your struggle, darling, and run with it. So rather deal with that, you're getting the piece of the pie. Unlike those people who decide, this doesn't serve me, this doesn't make sense, and yet it's life. It is life. You like it or not, that's how life is structured. Who are you to change this whole setup? Unless you're better off with that piece of a pie than someone who says, I'm not interested. I rather be unemployed because I work so hard for other people. I work so hard to make other people's dreams come true. Go in, get your small and a piece of a pie, then I'll make a live to talk about what you ought to be doing with the small and a piece of a pie so that you can see your wealth growing and growing, and people get shocked with it. How so? And sometimes you end up being more wealthy than that manager who used to earn much more than that you earned, because it is possible, but it's not for the topic of today. And I'll read yours, Bui. So thank you for being here. If you are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to like and share. So we spoke about look into your bank charges. If you have to say goodbye to your bank that you've had for years, say goodbye and look for a bank that charges much a lower, bank fees, and their service is on point. For me, I often there's something else that I do a comparison with when it comes to banks, or maybe like insurance companies. I compare them. They good when insurance companies. You'll know how great that insurance company is when you claim. Banks, you know how awesome that bank is when you need their help. And guys, can I be honest? You can change, chop, and leave and move next door and flow cross and try someone else. Oh, I'm tired of Standard Bank. Let me try FNB. Hey guys, it's the same garbage, and I'm sorry to say the same headache, but different colors. So yeah, they just like that. Insurance companies, you chop and change. That one had their own, when you check the reviews, they had their own sad story to tell, their own heartbreaking story. You go in, you might be lucky to be taken care of much better than the people that you read their reviews. But these guys are all the same, guys. They just all the same. Just make sure personally you go for the one that speaks to your needs at that point in time, and be honest. Don't brag would say I carry a black card, but it's not serving you, it's taken from you. We are wealth building here, not our own wealth building, not banks wealth building or other people's wealth building. So take care of your own before you want to brag about things that are not bringing you any money into your pocket. So it's very important. And we've got websites that compares a bank, not websites, but people have written articles, like search bloggers have written articles where they compare bank fees. So if you don't have the time to search how much FNB charges for this particular USave account, or whatever they call it, how much Netbank charges for their USave equivalent, just go for the information blogger where they did the comparison, and use that. And it's also time to assess your insurances. So sit down, take out, you already have this information in front of you, your life covers, you bring your whole life. On Excel spread, we do it differently, guys. You have it there. When it comes to your insurances, you check your home insurance, you check your car insurance, and we've spoken about the insurances in terms of life covers, educational policies, in terms of I'm trying to think of this one that I hate so much, and I'm sure that's why I cannot recall it. I cannot stand this insurance. And guys, it said, I'm sorry that I could, endowment. People believe it's awesome. It just doesn't make sense in my life. You check your endowment policy or insurance. Oh, the thing. Oh, guys, those brokers, yeah, some took advantage of us, especially those years when I didn't have endowment. I don't believe there's things I don't believe in. Credit cards is one of them. I don't own a credit card. People have convinced me. Look at the loyalty side of things. You can pay it within 55 days before it generates interest. There's things I don't believe in, and I don't own them, and I don't even want to hear about them. And the endowment is one of those. So those years before, the regulations were stringent and all that. Aye, they'll make you take educational policy. You check after 3 years, that thing is still sitting at 6,000. The child is ready to, not 3 years, 3 years is nothing. There's a lady 10 years later when the child, and that's another thing, we don't do these yearly assessments. We leave our monies to take care of themselves. I've never heard of that. So it's crucial that you do what we are talking about now. So this lady took this policy, funeral, educational policy, and I want to say the company because everyone is complaining about them, but I won't say it. And then when the child was about to go, this insurance company, I want to say them, but I won't. And when it was time for the child to go to varsity, she called me. Yo, I can't believe this. She said, we took this, and I took mine for my baby when she was still in my stomach, and mine did exceptionally well. And guys, I research my stuff. I'm not saying I get it right all the time because I don't think you can ever. If we all knew the answers, we will be so wealthy. But it did so well, guys. I can't emphasize. And thanks to that company that I used. And at the time, I was smiling, deciding how I was going to now invest that money for my child, and it really helped because I did something massive for her. While my friend was, the friends that we meet in the corporate world, and they end up becoming friends, and then before you know, I told you I don't keep friends. I quickly move them to I sister zone them, which is so bad. Now I want to separate. It's either you're my sister or you're my friend. And she was crying, saying she's had this thing, the broker make her take her years back, and she only came out with, I think, 6,000. What will you do? I think that's registration in varsity, right? So yeah, when I was smiling, so choose well and look into those funeral covers, look into those educational policies. I saw my said funeral because this funeral thing wants to come out, and it's one thing that irritates me. Look into the funeral cover, look into the educational policy sees, and all those policies, life policy, home insurance, some people have insurances for their bags when they are snatched, but the assessment fee, what's the word, guys? Oh, how can I excess that you pay is far much more. You might as well just go and grab a new bag for that 4,000 rands that you need to pay as excess. So check those things. It is that time, and this is what wealthy people are currently doing, assessing all the financial aspects of life, and all the aspect. I like to read these, guys, because if someone has a question, I want to attend to it. It's a live, it's not a video where I see it later. So it just makes sense. And just bear with me if you're like, Ma, can you just move? Can we get more? Can we get more? I'll definitely share more. Yes, there's a lot managers do. It might seem easy, but hey, it's not. Sitting in the chair in front of the laptop can crack your head. It's really not that. It's not, Shembui, and yeah, it's not. Me having worked for years, and I was once a manager, I know, and I manage people for like, I think, 3 years. And after that, I decided to be a specialist because I just felt, and when you are a manager, the biggest, okay, let's not talk about that. I'll have a different life about that. But yeah, it is a huge responsibility. It's like being a parent, sometimes not appreciated. Only you will know how tough that role is. And only if you've worn those shoes and not just wear them, walked in them until you become one, and really you for years you will never understand. You'll think they sit around and get paid for nothing. It's a huge response. I could listen to you the whole day. Tomega, thanks, honey. Hello, sissy. Hi, darling. Hi, Tembeli Felanga. How are you, sweetheart? Happy. So, sweethearts, I'm still carrying on to say change the bank, adjust. Your insurance company should be reducing your premium. So when you are phoning them, you are not phoning them to increase because it's a new year. You are telling them, guys, I've been with you for this long. Can you look into my premium and please reduce it? My car, I've been driving it for 5 years. It has reduced in its value. It's now worth less than what it was worth when I drove it off out of that garage, even though it lost its value. The new car now 25%. Guys, we know the story. No use buying it new, because by the time you drive it out of that dealership, it has lost 25% of its value. You have those discussions. Guys, great things and wealth happens to those who take care of their business. And taking care of your business means setting time and speaking to people that are taking from you and you feel good, no, this is not fair now. So speak to your insurance company. And if you're not winning, get quotes from other insurance companies. And we also, on that one, we've got that, I can't recall, hippo, hip, hooray. That hippo that does the comparison to see which insurance is is better. And we've got better, and we've got one that says if we beat you others, or they beat us, I think we will pay you. At the time it was 300 rands. Take advantage of those things. This is the time before you go back to work. Give me just 2 seconds, guys. Let me take care of my business as well while I talk about taking care of business. And guys, please, thank you. You can see I was cleaning myself up. Please do the same with your household insurance. And guys, remember, if you're a tenant and you're renting out an apartment, a house, a, a villa, whatever you call it, the contents in that house, so the furniture and all that, are your responsibility. It's your furniture, it's your laptops, it's your expensive gadgets. So, and furniture and clothing, whatever is in that house, you ought to have the household insurance. You can't ask your landlord if there's a break in to replace, excuse me, your goods or your assets. Do we call them assets? Your stuff. Let's not use assets for anything, everything. Then we end up getting confused and saying, oh, I've got this handbag, it's my asset. When it's in fact not one of those special editions that can be auctioned for millions of rands or dollars. So you ought to have a house hold insurance, and phone them if you do have, and ask them to reduce, or check you last had a phone that was stolen or lost, but you still have it covered. It's 2024. The phone was gone 5 years ago. Have you even looked what you got covered in household insurance? And is it enough? Because now you got a promotion, you became a manager, like one of my kids here talking about being a manager, and you ended up buying more stuff for your house, but you never went back to your insurance to include some of those stuff that you bought, your MacBooks and MacBook. I hope they call it that. I get it wrong all the time, guys, and I love it so much. And you didn't include it. This is the time to make sure you include. But if anything, try and get a reduced premium. But the premium must speak to the goods that you do have. No use fighting for a reduced premium and you taking out your wedding rings. And if they get lost, then what happens? The insurance didn't cover your wedding rings because you were just reduce using your mind, and be realistic when you make those phone calls, when you do this financial assessment with that stuff. And I wanna talk more about stuff such as, and I wanna share this but briefly and we move on. Guys, I don't know if one of y'all's had an opportunity to deal about like the wealth side of things. So I've dealt up with wealthy customers. And as I talk to you about the insurance, your bags, and the MacBooks and whatever, I'm thinking, and to think that those guys will insure their goldfish, things that you won't think of. I hope you guys are just as wealthy. Your insurance covers those Rolexes. I can never take anyone and say, "Hi, since I don't have a Rolex, in my deed box, I can't talk about it." But guys, you know your situation. If you are a rich bagger, good on you, but do check for your gold and your goldfish and your Persian carpets. Oh, guys, I used to sit and just smile because yeah, great things brings joy, even if we don't have them, because we are wired like that. We are happy for those who've made it in life, and we ought to be like that so that we attract such a one day. And remember, the Persian carpets that the neighbor bought might not be something you want to have. Your kind of wealth could be totally different. But I'm just bringing this in because we're talking about insurance, and there's people who really insure stuff that will shock you. And you're like, hey, money make people do things that you never thought they were busy with. So yeah, that's that. So we spoke about these things. I'm just quickly checking my notes, making sure the ones that are up there. And guys, you know how much it costs us as South Africans in terms of data, in terms of Wi-Fi. Do assessments on that. Get the ones that doesn't charge much if you can, the ones that are, I don't know, much reasonable, but be careful. You don't want the one that's buffering all the time. And if you are on social media like your mom, you can't even do your live, or like me, you can't even do your live because you thought you were doing a financial assessment and you were cutting back and you ended up uh, for this one that you thought was much reasonable, and now you are stuck. You can't even, it doesn't open, nada, nothing. When you Google, it takes forever, and the kids are frustrated in terms of their research and their assignments and all that. Guys, be very careful. So hence I'm saying, look into your needs when you do this, and be realistic, because yeah, you don't want to shoot yourself on the foot, definitely. So we've talked about comparing the bank fees and making sure you do that. And guys, what's important is that we are consumers. Yes, some of us are, or some people are producers there, including myself. Some people are inventors, some people are creators, but create products, formulate products. You came up with this idea, you own this, that you start from scratch and all that. But most people are consumers. And if you know, Uguchi, there's a retail store or the services that you use nonstop, this is the time to say, hi, man, come on. I'm always buying my water from for instance. What am I getting for this? I've most probably, since I've known them, I've bought 10 millions of bottles of the water. So this is the time to tap into the getting something out of such services, or out of those products. So get your loyalty card. Guys, loyalty cards are a way to go. If you are constantly at clicks, buying all the things, some you don't even need. They are not a need, they are a want, nice to have. Oh, let me go in clicks again today, and you are addicted. What can we do with the addiction? At least get a loyalty point so that at the end of the month or end of the term, they all work differently. You get something back. And I'm going to use an example. Guys, you know, I'm a businesswoman. You know, I sell products. I use these courier companies. There's one courier company that has a loyalty, and not all of them. The branch that I'm using, that is Postnet. Whenever I send the goods or my customers' parcels and packages out, after 10 customers, I get a free a courier service. You know, one free courier service. And guys, I cannot express this enough because you're not with me. I don't share much in such departments. But last year, I most probably got free um couriers, about 20 free couriers. It shows you how hectic the business is. And if I didn't bother with loyalty cards and getting something back and getting a buck back, it would have been just me paying them, making them richer and richer. Obviously, they're providing service and there's nothing wrong. But I'm also rewarded by saying, okay, you've sent 10 parcels, here's one parcel. I mean, you don't understand the feeling that I get. And it's only 110 that I get back after 10 parcels. But I celebrate every time it happens. So get your loyalty cards, do it with most retails stores offer this, and look into it in the service industry as well, not just where you buy products. Service industry offer these. And my kid, who's on the right platform here, my corporate journey, because I talk about work related, I must actually do one video about corporate life. We are at the right place. When Assisi, most companies offer referral bonuses when you refer. If there's a vacancy and you refer someone brilliant and they interview the person, they end up appointing, shortlisting, the long HR process of appointing a new employee. And once that person is appointed and they work for a certain period, some companies say 6 months, they pay you a referral bonus. Guys, use that, make extra money using such. This is the time to sit down with your finances, assess where you can actually clean out, where you can actually make more money, cut down on expenses, and we've spoken about where you can actually cut down. Don't sleep on loyalty cards. I have e-bucks. That means I bank with FNB. And guys, I can tell you now, I don't use it fully. I saw at Clicks, it said if I paid with my phone, which is tap to pay, and guys, it comes, some of these things comes with a risk. It's a new era, it's digital era, we're tapping, we're doing all these fancy things. But when the Tsotsis get hold of your stuff, unless you have put proper security measures, you are bugged, because once they get your phone, our whole lives are on our phones. And I realized, Gucci, it said to me, if you paid with your phone, tap to pay, whatever FNB app, you would have received 25% e-bucks. And I was like, oh my word. And I'm going to investigate that, because my e-bucks, as we speak, I don't use them. I know some people buy airtime with them. Some people, you can buy anything. You can buy appliances. You can buy gift cards. You can book your air flights. You can do anything with them. Guys, they're not sponsoring this video. I'm just giving an example and an importance of these rewards programs. And rewards programs. And why did I say loyalty cards? But they come in a form of a card, but they are called rewards programs. So I'm sitting now on 40,000 e-bucks. And if you bank with FNB, that's 4,000 rands. I've been letting them grow. Obviously, I use my card for everything personal. I book my flights with my card, and I've got other things, and it tells you what you need to add to. I've got a life cover with them, very small one, which I'm okay with, and it really boosts my e-bucks. But don't take things that you don't need just for you to get these rewards. Doesn't make sense. So don't go and buy oats, for instance, and you don't eat oats just for you to get like the those vouchers for shopping. No, use it for stuff that you really need. So do get your rewards programs, sign up for them. You know where you shop, you know what your life is all about. Get something back for it this year, and do it with your with my e-bucks. I get the petrol spent back as well, a certain percentage. It's not a big amount, but guys, when it accumulates, end of the year, you can buy a laptop for your child, you can buy Christmas present for your loved ones. It is something. So we all bank with different banks. If Net Bank has it, where when you fill up your tank, petrol tank, at the fuel station, you get something. Start inquiring, put those in order early days of 2024. That's what the rich are busy doing. And don't think rich people don't care about these things. Hey, they are the Anfon Nogush. Check your will, please, guys. Check your. They count each and every cent. I know a couple of them. They count each and every cent. While when you can give 500 rands and smile, I'm not saying they're not givers. Most of them are that word, that big one. They are givers, but check your will, guys. You ought to check your will this time of the year. You ought to check your will every time there's a change in your life. Maybe you got pregnant, you're divorcing, you adopted a child. There's a lot that can happen that requires you to tap into your will and update it. You know, when they've lost someone who's on your will, remove them, because guys, that person is no more, sadly. But check your will and use that time. And if you don't have a will, get a will in place. And guys, I don't want to hear the story, yo, I don't have money, Mina, my job only pays me such. Guys, once these people, they might be poor while alive, but the minute they close their eyes permanently and God has called their names, there's monies that gets paid out. If you've got, you are working, there's companies that pay a certain amount. it, Companies are different. If it's one of the big companies with almost some benefits, we all know they pay millions of rands if you were to leave, much more than you got while you were alive. So you don't want your monies to be distributed to people who didn't even speak to you. You don't want your monies to end up in a government fund, and you've got kids. Have a will. Get a will drafted. And this is another part or aspect of your life where you ought to tap into someone who has a skill, who knows where it needs to be kept, and ask about the costs that are involved. Banks, like I'll speak about FNB. I've got my will with FNB. I change between FNB and Capital Legacy. Guys, mina nami omunye. If someone makes me nara, I remove them from my will. I play around with my finance and it keeps me young. So FNB doesn't cost or charge for drafting a will, but when they wind up your estate, because they'll be appointed as your executor, there are fees that are paid. The executor fees, it's a percentage of the wealth or the money that you'll be having at the time. It's quite hefty. And companies such as Capital Legacy gives you an opportunity to pay for these fees while you are alive. Mina, my take is, I've already left you with something. Why must I still pay for you, Guti? You must get far much more. Whether you are my kid or you are an SPCA that I've appointed, or whether you are a Catholic church that I have on my will, I always think, it's enough. Manja, I must go to Capital Legacy and still pay for these estate winding fees, and guys, they're quite high. So get your numbers, know how much your net worth is, And if you leave this earth, how much will be paid out? Obviously, it can't be to the T, but more or less, how much are your assets? And net worth is basically your assets minus your liability. How much will be left in your estate? The total. If when you leave there'll be 10 million in your estate, I get the estate duties and the executors fees. Have a number and look into your personal situation. If you've got small kids, how are you expecting them to survive on the amount that will be left once the fees are paid? But if you've got big kids and they've got their own lives, or you giving, donating a chunk of your wealth, ought not to worry unless you really love these people and you want them to get millions when you leave this earth. It's different. But look into your will, draft your will, get someone with the expertise, and don't complicate your will. Don't complicate it. Get someone who won't make, unless you are filthy rich and the red bottoms, the three that are maroon and whatever goes to so and so. It's detailed. Your goldfish must be raised by a foundation, Nelson Mandela Foundation. If it's not like that, guys, don't complicate it, because the more it gets complex, the more it might be longer. And I know we like to also rule from the grave, where you say, I'm going to have a clause on my will that my kids, if they do this, then monies must be stopped and all that. Guys, have discussions with your children while you are alive and have it straightforward. You can't leave 20 million for a 15-year-old and or a 21-year-old and expect them to fat upstairs. They'll go crazy and they'll donor it. Use your mind and do have clauses, but clauses that make sense. My favorite clause, Gu William, whatever I leave for my kid or kids will not form part of their estate. So if I leave something for my daughters or my daughter or my sons, when they get married, that money that I worked hard for is still theirs. It's not yours is mine, mine is mine. It doesn't form part of their estate. Those are the clauses you can leave. But stop this thing of ruling from the grave. Hey, if she misses school, then she no longer gets 10,000 per month. Only give her 2,000 per month. Hey, if he marries an Asian and not an European, please cut. Guys, don't go there. Just have a simple will. And if you've got a complicated life, if you are wealthy, uh, sit with your the person who will draft the will with all the expertise and get it right. And you can do your will with your bank, you can do your will with this company. I'm sure there's lots of companies. I only, and because where I worked, they used to have a consultant that came from Capital Legacy. You can do a will with your lawyer. You know, when they walk in and show off with their briefcase and take out the will when you are gone. I love that idea, but just don't like who would say I must pay for it when I'm gone, and then my kids are gathered in the lounge and they sit and the lawyer walks in with the briefcase. Oh, guys, I love it. And the one who thought he's getting the big chunk gets a smaller chunk, and then the fight starts. Ooh, I watch too much movies. So, guys, do sort out your wills. I urge you, I beg you. You might not have money now. You won't be surprised. You'll be gone, but you might have something. You'll be surprised in your grave. Good. Hi, Mo. I thought I had nothing. Look at my estate. There's something for my kids. So get it right. And if you don't have something, work towards making and creating a legacy to leave something when you leave this earth. We all can leave a legacy. And legacy doesn't only have to be money, legacy can be the lessons that you teach your kids, although they don't agree with that. I always tell my kids, I've left so much of legacy for you. I've taught you so much. Leave my monies alone. Let me child them. And if you've got a will, check if it's up to date, and if not, updated. And guys, please, very important, if you are secretive, you are private like me, someone needs to know where your will is. Because if no one knows where your will is kept, how are we going to fulfill your wishes? It is as you are like someone who doesn't have a will at all. So rather get those companies to keep it for you, get your lawyer to keep it for you. If you are keeping it at home, because you do have that option of keeping it at home, make sure someone knows. And if you don't want them to know the stories, I think, excuse me, your PNA, your CNA has that folder that you can, it's a zip log, and no one can break the seal. You can tell when the seal is broken, so they can only break the seal once you are gone. I guess you, I hope and believe you get me, ma'am. Would you advise insuring household items with a bank? I didn't even know they provide that. Sissy, do your comparison, see how much they giving you. Look at the reviews when people claimed, did the bank come through? Oh, guys, everyone offers these. Your funeral covers, you get them at the weirdest places. I believe Pep has them. Oh, times have changed. Soon I'll sit here and say, guys, I offer a funeral cover. Happy New Year's, darling. I'm late, Noko, but we'll start. Please do Sweetie Pie and don't skip the ads, please. I could listen to. Okay, we've covered that. So if they do offer that, just check. Go to Hello Pizza. Go to their reviews. Check on the internet what are people are saying, because, like I said, you will only know how great your insurance is when you claim. So check those who've claimed. Hear their views, and don't just take one view. I guys, we all have, in our community, that sour grape that complains about everything. Make sure, Gucci, when you see the person, you're like, let me stay away and go with the reputable companies who've been doing it for years. Without promoting them, you know them. Let's not mention them, because maybe someone had a bad experience. But do your homework. Don't just grab anyone. They do, mama. I will compare. Thank you. Please, please, sis, you don't want to sit with the problem when you need them. And that's where they really let you down, these insurance I'm not saying all of them. I've once insured a car with, and guys, I don't have my hopes with any. I do it because it ought to be done. But the way they came through for me, and some have that bonus, the non-claim bonus. Guys, look into that. Do you have a non-claim bonus, a payout with your insurance, more especially the car, for your car insurance? And they used to pay. I stayed with them until I got this bonus twice, which means I stayed with them for like 10 years. And it was an amazing, amazing payment, unexpected, and I could do things. And there was a time where I needed to claim, and they came through. So they are all different. I don't know why did I change? I'm no longer with them. They were so awesome. I think they became expensive, and they couldn't match my or reduce my premium when I did this financial assessment at the beginning of 1 year. So check your will, and yeah, with your will, you'll check your life covers, you'll check your investments. Are they still talking to your lifestyle? Are they still talking to your life structure, your setup, your age, the kids that you have, the beneficial responsibilities that you have? You might not have kids, but you might have dependencies, whether it's your mom, it's your dad, it's a neighbor's daughter that you are supporting and raising and educating. Look into that. Are your investments still enough to cover for your future goals and plans? And you ought to check your savings as well. We spoke investment savings. Do they align to your goals? No use you planning to renovate this year, but you don't have anything saved up for that. So look into that. This is the time. Because guys, you need the resources. You can't have a vision board that requires you to have monies, but you have no cent saved up. You have no investment that you've been pushing for quite some time, and you come and you say the vision board doesn't work. It won't work, because without those tools, how do you even get there? And if it's not where you want to be, you ought to adjust. Guys, you ought to sacrifice, you ought to be disciplined. you ought to look into those gym memberships and look into the subscriptions that you have. Are they still serving you? Whether it's a gym or it's a magazine that you're getting, if there's still such a thing, or like some motivational quote that you are paying for, or a subscription on my Facebook page. If you like, I've subscribed to Ma and I'm always paying this amount, but it's not worth the amount that I'm paying. Cancel it, cancel it. Don't have subscriptions that are not serving you. You only go once in a blue moon to the gym, or you haven't been the whole year. This is a time to say, I'm sure I can just get my dumbbells and whatever and gym at home, although it might be tough. Or look into your company. They might offer. I worked for a company, guys. I worked for awesome companies. I tell you all the time. They offered we had a gym at work, and those were the one that I said goodbye at, which you'll get to know very soon because I'll be sharing my last day as a video when I finally wrap up my gap year videos, which I'm now want to wrap up. We had a gym, not big. I've used it because, guys, like I always tell you, I might cheat on food, but when it comes to fitness, I'm crazy. I make sure I run. I make sure I keep fit. I love it, and I'm a person who walks around and I don't sit still. And I paid like I used to pay 100 rands a month. Imagine. So look into that. If you've got a gym at work and it's one of your perks or benefits as a staff member, take advantage of that. Don't go now. We're Virgin Active. I was inquiring because I want to go back. But the fees left me twiggling my thumb, asking myself, am I doing it? Am I still sticking to my hiking and paying my 40 rands when I go hike? Is it safe though to do that? But just look into your personal position at this time and decide and take advantage of offers, and yeah, that will really cut it down in terms of expenses. Guys, every cent counts. Life is expensive. Make it reasonable for yourself. And yeah, the last one, and we've already covered it, assess, do an assessment of your income, do an assessment of your expenses. And when you do an assessment of your expenses, check what is taking a chunk of your money. If talking to friends in terms of cell phone calls are what's chowing you and holding you back, you ought to change things around. Send a WhatsApp call, SMS them, go the old fashioned way. Somehow, the old fashioned ways of doing things turns out to be much reasonable. Because if really this stands between you and building your wealth, you ought to change. It's 2024. Ngeke sihlafune ngomhlathi last year and expect different results. We cannot possibly do things the same as we did last year, previous years, and expect different results. That's why end of the year, nothing has changed. You're frustrated, you are down, you don't even want to go out and party like everyone else and meet families because you keep on doing the same thing. Cell phone calls are costing you way too much. You call your friends and you stay for 2 hours on the call, like me and Nonsi. If a cell phone call won't save us, she's abroad. We stay for 4 to 5 hours on one call. We call each other almost every single day without fail. So that will kill. Switch to WhatsApp calls. Switch to maybe about chats. I don't know if there's other apps that but there must be something. Research and find better ways. If it's the Wi-Fi that's cleaning you, find much reasonable options of that. If it's dining out, you love eating fancy meals, you love fine dining, cut down on that, cut back on that, and only go when it's restaurant weeks, and you get these awesome meals at discounted, because then restaurants offer specials during, I do restaurant weeks every year without fail, because Nami, I enjoy the tastiest of foods. It's my thing. I love good food, not just any food, good food. So I cannot be spending a fortune every month unless there's a valid reason, and you've got an asset that is funding that lifestyle. So be honest, check what is chowing you. If it's black tax that is taking a chunk of your income, sit down the recipients of e-black tax, tell them, guys, I love YouTubers, but I am going to reduce this amount. Don't cut it out, especially if it involves children's education, or a business that is boosting the family, but that business should be standing on its own by now and generating its own. Look into such, don't give them milk, buy them a cow that will provide milk for the family. So that by so doing, you slowly cut back on that black tax. Sit with your statement, sit with your expenses, sit with your income. Check what is holding me back, what is causing me these sleepless nights. People are smiling, people are glowing. Mina, I'm breaking out because of his stress. I've tried the VS Gamma, it's not helping because the problem is deep. Be honest and say, no, 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 no. This poozering every weekend is expensive. I can have a glass of something, maybe pooza once a month with friends or every 6 months. But guys, if you do not compromise, sacrifice, you don't apply discipline, come end of 2024, you will be in the same position, if not worse off, that you were, more especially if you didn't attain your goals. I'm not talking to someone who, end of 2023, was saying, hallelujah, I did well and I'm proud of myself, tap on the back. I'm talking about someone who was frustrated. I wake up every morning, I go to work, I give it my all. The promotions are not even coming the way I wish they could, but I still get paid, but somehow my money just disappears. Do something, do something. You'll find good, it's not black magic. It's the unnecessary commitments that you have. Your financial obligations are skewed. This is the time, to beginning of 2024, to sit down and be honest. Do I need 20 friends that I buy booze for every month? You don't. You most probably only need two out of those 20 friends, and they won't even ask you to buy them booze. Instead, you will all be contributing to enjoy life. And that's the honesty. We don't, I'm not talking to younger generation. I do have younger generation. If they are listening, they ought to apply that. People who love you, who wants to see you prosper, who wants to see you succeed in life, will not always be taking from you. Instead, they'll also contribute because they know life is expensive. We all have responsibilities. We all have so much that takes from us, from insurances to school fees to transportation to food to electricity. Now we're busy installing these solars that are costing us a fortune. So where's the time to still, if it's clothing, earrings, if it's your hair that is always up to date, but it's not even, you're not wealth building. It's the most useless things. And I'm sorry to do this, to say that, but they make you look good, which is awesome. But do you need 10 weaves when you can just chop and change and learn how to style 3 or 4 only and not buy 10 instead? You need to start looking at YouTube videos to say, how do I style my dreads? I don't need to be changing the hairstyles for my dreadlocks if they cost me 200 rands every month to style every week. There's people who change these every week, and per month there is 800 rands. End of the year, it's thousands that you could be using to buy, towards buying shares, towards buying ETFs, towards your stash, and just building the wealth so that when it's time to look at your will, you don't shake. There's nothing to even leave behind. Whose problem is it? If you're not working, that is different. You're still praying for the work job and you're standing up and looking for a job. But if you're already blessed, but you just misusing what God is blessing you with, this is the time to introspect and to be honest and say, this bar stops here. I'm tired of working for strangers. You don't even know all half of the people that comes in and takes your money. Some debit orders you even forgot what you ate, but you busy paying all those people, I want to say bargains. It's time to make sure your money is yours, and you can only get to that level where each and every cent comes to you and you are in control with who you're giving how much when, if you take time and you do your assessments. And I wish you nothing but the best. And onendlebe, the ones with the ear has heard. If you always do this, you are on the right track. I say congratulations. If you are hearing this information for the first time and you think, oh wow, I'm definitely going to try something. You might not try everything that we discussed because maybe you don't have everything or you're not there yet, and or maybe you want to start off small. It's okay. And good luck and all the best. Let's meet in 2025 and let me hear what your views are, how far this got you. But I can promise you, I do this every year. It's something I'll sit and do tomorrow, and I will lay my foundation. Look into my insurances, phone them, tell them I don't agree with that. I've already looked into the cleaning services. I'm at home. Do I need someone more than, once a week when I'm constantly cleaning after my kids, cleaning after myself, wiping my floors? Or maybe I can have someone once a week and say, but if the time is crucial for you to run your business, to take your kids to sports day, to extra lessons, you definitely need someone more than once. So hence I'm saying it's personal. Be honest, look at, and being honest doesn't say nice to have, oh, the feeling. Mm-mm. Because unless you are already there, you've built wealth and the assets are paying for your lifestyle, then you can leave it however. But if you're still building, be honest. Can I really survive with having someone just once a week, and other days I clean up, I cook, or just take care of such when I'm off in the morning only, because you still need time to rest. And that's the honesty you need to apply. If you work long shifts, you can't still come home and clean the house. It will be impossible. So then maybe that expense is not negotiable. But other expenses of fine dining and guys, some people say, why coffee every morning? It's so expensive if you cut out the coffee. But if the coffee is the one that brings you a creativity and helps you to be sane, don't cut out your coffee. Maybe you don't need 5 cups of coffee every day at work. You only need one. You can reduce 1 or 2, then you are fine. Do not get to a point where you cut out things that bring brings a true meaning of life to you. I don't believe in that. I also do not believe, Uktenini, you waste your money, you spend it, you donor it, but you are not even where you are. And yet, if you build and you buy these assets and they pay you every month and you get to where you're heading to, which doesn't happen overnight, which you need to be honest with yourself. And then when you drink those 5 coffees, it doesn't impact you, it doesn't take from you, it doesn't skew your financial side of things. Hallelujah. Just while you are building, be honest, cut out things that are costing you unnecessarily and giving you headache, and some stresses are financial. There's people who's taken their lives because they were drowning in debt. Be honest. Do you really want to continue spending to a point of being stressed and depressed and end up leaving this earth? This is the time to sit with yourself, Have these discussions with yourself, respond to yourself, ask yourself questions. Get a shock of your life when you look at your statement and you didn't realize what was taking most of your monies, and change it right away. And I love you. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Do not forget to subscribe if you really, really love this content, and share, guys, and like. And those who've done that, ke le rata ka lerato la love. Ke re fela ko Korea, we say love, love, love. So keep well, darlings. Mom, would you advise? Oh, okay. I saw that they do. Okay, I saw that. I think I've covered in everything. And if you had a different question and we didn't cover it, you can drop it on the comment section. If there's another section or aspect of our lives that are left out, forgot about it or overlooked or missed it, leave it on the comment section and just say, this is how I do my assessment. And please, guys, don't forget to also tap into ABCD. And guys, don't forget, once you realize your income is not enough after you've cut down, remember, you'll find good, there's nothing wrong with your income. You are just spending way too much. We ought to live way below our means. Once you've done your assessment and you realize, go to sure, my income is not enough. We've spoken about it. You need to start something. You need to upgrade, whether you go and you study and take advantage of learnerships or bursaries that are offered by companies, and get a promotion and get more income. Sell something. I know people say we can't all sell. That is debatable. That's a story for another day, because when you go for an interview, you sell yourself. We can sell. It's just that some are like, oh, what will people say? Others, they always sell themselves short. Yo, mina, guys, I always say to myself, I love good life. If it means I must stand at a taxi rank and sell makwija just for me to finance my good life, I don't even need anybody to debate that with me. I know it for sure, and I do it. I do it ethically, sell legally, but sell, guys. Sell, especially when you are a lover of fine things and they come at a price. You cannot take your income and service your lifestyle. Have something aside that will pay for your gym membership. Have something aside that will pay for those weekends away, that will pay for your fine dining, that will pay for your weaves. That it can't come from your income. It cannot be enough for all these things. Do something. Get an increase by getting promoted, by selling something. Get another job. Weekends. You know, this guy said it so well. A minority mindset. I follow that guy here on YouTube. He said, you can't be possibly watching Netflix. He always encourages people to cut off Netflix. You can't be possibly watching Netflix the whole day when your bank balance is sitting on minus, it's sitting on 300 rands. Come on, do something. We all are gifted, we all are talented. It's just that we are not all ready to get our hands dirty. There's people who are just lazy, who just think, I don't know, one day they'll wake up and their accounts will have 10 million. Never. Stay with me. You'll still be in the same position until you get to a point where you say, let me make money. And there's money to be made. There is so much money circulating around for all of us. So do something, increase that income, write a book, get royalties, start your YouTube channel, start your TikTok, and share. You are passionate about something, you know it better than us. We can sit and listen to you and learn from you. Do it and get extra. And guys, an extra 100 rands is better than an extra zero that someone is currently not getting at the moment. So some people say, "Ah, I want a side hustle. Ah, it's only 200 extra. Mina, I can't." Guys, we started with our hustles that gave us about 300 rands a month. Before you know, you grow 500. And once you are into something, can I tell you something? Once you spend time with the wealthy people, the opportunity starts opening up. Your mind starts thinking like them. Your eyes changes. It's like you did an eye operation. You don't see things the way you used to. And I'm saying, once you start a business, even if it starts off like acha, ice, lollipops, ice blocks, and you only start by making only 200 rands, guys, rest assured, in no time, because you are already there, your thinking has shifted. You sort of introduce something else. Hey, Bo, it's no longer 200, it's now 500. You introduce something else. 2,000 a month? Huh? Over and above what I'm earning? 5,000, 10,000, guys, 100,000, 200,000 extra. Guys, I'm talking extra. It is doable. And I always tell you, mina ngikhulumi ngaba maybe fees and what. I talk about things that I've worked and I've done and I've seen them happening. Because as we start this year, I'm sitting as well saying, what else can I introduce? And it's a pity because the world is evil. People are fail pops. We can't sit and show you receipts. If you can't be motivated by what I tell you, where am I gonna sit and show you my balances to prove to you ukuthi this thing is doable? So start small. You meet people. I used to go deliver EVS and I'll meet a customer who'll say, have you ever thought about also selling this? Oh, you know, my skin does this. It's not just the skin. I also have hair issues. I introduced hair food, which is excellent. Guys, once, just go in, just start and stop with the excuses. Once you are in, when you are in varsity, all you talk about is varsity language, is books, it's a research, it's a study that was done, it's stats, because you are already in. But when you are outside, you think it's impossible. So start something. You'll be shocked. People that you're gonna meet, the ideas that they're gonna share, the requests, some business ideas will come from people. When you comment on my YouTube, if someone says, can you please also share this and this, that is a content that you'll find good. I didn't think about. Now I'm able to say, okay, maybe when I visit this place, I can also make a video on ABC. Maybe I can also go live. You learn from people. Other people can make you grow. But if you are outside, you can never know what happens in the corporate world until you knock and you are given the opportunity to go in. And it's up to you. Are you going in with a negative mind or you are going in with a clear mind and you open yourself up for more opportunities? Tina, that's how we live our lives. And that's how people end up saying, well, now you've got a magnet of attracting only the right and wealth and amazing people and opportunities, because I don't leave any space in my soul and body and heart and mind for negativity, for what if doesn't work, this doesn't work. You ought to have, I'm a risk guru myself. You ought to do a risk assessment. You ought to have controls in place should things are adverse and but or adverse and adverse and all that. But be positive. If it's shoes that you always wanted to sell, that person you are afraid and bound of, have they ever given you 20 rands at least for a loaf of bread? Never. So why aren't you pushing your thing and making an extra income and adding to your income if your income is not enough? Guys, you can't cut. children's school fees. How are you going to cut transportation? Are you going to walk? Because even if you cycle, which is much healthier, by the way, the bikes are not cheap. You need to maintain, if you can do it, guys. But you can cut back up to a certain extent. But we'll talk about how you can cut back some other time. I've got it already on my notebook. I've jotted some points down for you. So I'll cut back and tell you how to cut back. But I don't encourage a cutting back. I only always encouraging introduce another stream of income. Introduce another stream of income, and don't count them. You can have as many as you can. There's no limit, like your your TCF tax free TFSA, where you only have 500,000 per lifetime. So income streams, have as many. You know, the 2,000 is coming from these ones, a 5,000 is coming from that, and I will do a sit down and share some of the streams of income that you can introduce, because there are so many. Guys, there's no excuse for not making money. The day you realize what you don't have is what you honestly do not want to have, is the day you know what that is reality. I'm not talking about dire situations, or that one can't walk, therefore how do you expect them to work? But if you are fully functional, you've got a brain, there's absolutely nothing that stops you from creating your wealth. So sit down and assess yourself as well. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe you can achieve things in life, or are you a negative person? And turn that around, and then we shall talk. Thanks for being here. I love you so much, and God bless. I pray that this year you may do things differently. You may come up with so many streams of income, if that's what's holding you back. But if you are adding more than enough, and you are living way below your means, and your expenses are not breaking your back, and you don't have loans that are coming out of your ears, whether it's personal loans, study loans, whatever loans, credit cards, or overdrafts, they all have different names, and I can't even remember them. Please work on them, close them by one, by one, and get to a state where you are in control of your income. And it is yours, not Peter's, not Totals, not Toyotas, not these funky, companies that come and grab as others, King Pie, whatever. I want to say that insurance, I don't know why I call them King Pie, but that insurance company, then you know you're on the right track. And keep well. God bless. Goodbye. Till we meet again. Take care, and thanks for supporting, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.